So I'll continue to add people in as they arrive, but I would like to begin. And I'd like to start with a little reading here. I do a number of different types of readings. One is from Joyce Rupp around fragments of your ancient name, which are names or attributes that we attribute to God or call God. And so she goes through a whole bunch of these different things throughout the whole year. So November 8th, it is Brightness of Souls. It's written by Davelin Vinod. So we'll just take a moment to quiet ourselves as we're entering into this time and take a couple of deep breaths, center ourselves. Each soul is suffused with your flowing grace of luminosity, a beam of brilliance so intense that everything veiled would be aglow. If the body were shed, a radiance stronger than sun, softer than moon, steady as silence, spreads outward from every soul that exists. Together they spin into your great light until you penetrate each particle of darkness. Oh, that we could see all of creation as a swath of brilliant, soul-shining, illuminating love. And then the challenge for the day: I merge my love with the brightness of souls. Folks, I wonder if each of you could take time to write your name and also the church you're from in the chat. And I'll save the chat and compile the list so I know who has been here, just so that I can keep track and try and send out information and try and keep everyone else informed as well. So I would appreciate that. And Ruth Ann, I see your note. By all means, if anyone has to leave at any time, that's fine. My intention in this meeting is for us to get to know each other, to share some information, but I would also like to keep it to an hour because all of our time is valuable and I don't want to occupy too much of your time. So if there are questions that happen beyond this meeting, feel free to contact me. I'm sure we'll have time for some questions throughout and toward the end of our hour. And if you have any questions, because I'm a unitasker and I'm probably going to be talking and showing a PowerPoint and perhaps a video and looking at my my agenda, I might not see your note in the chat, though, hey, I'll try. But it might be easier if you just use the reactions and put up your virtual hand. So there's a reaction button at the bottom, probably, of your screen if you're using a computer, and you can just raise your virtual hand, and that's probably the easier way for me to see you. So welcome everyone to this time. I would like to first do an introduction of staff, and I see we have one of our staff here. I think I see only one. That would be Kathy Douglas. So I'll let Kathy introduce herself, and then I'll do an introduction of everyone else through a presentation of PowerPoint. So go ahead, Kathy.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be with you this evening, and thanks, John, for welcoming me and you folks here tonight. I'm the faith formation minister. That's the title I have in the region of Western Ontario Waterways. And that kind of encompasses a lot and overlaps some other work from other staff people as well. But anything that's to do with programming, Christian education, and that would mean children and youth, but far beyond just that age group as well. The UCW is part of my support, or who I help to support, I hope. And I do things like training with pastoral care, or at least some of that support, and doing the music ministry folk, giving them a chance, a platform to share what they're doing and their struggles and their celebrations. Church administration folks, just trying to think of the gamut of who needs some uplifting and support and connection, and that's what I try to do. So I love to hear from folks, especially to know what's needed. And I'm not going to stay the whole time tonight. I do have something else, but I wanted to drop in and hear how it is to be a lay rep. So thanks, John.
That's great. Thank you very much, Kathy. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint with some introductions of the rest of the staff, so you know who we are. And you should be able to see that. Somebody nod if you can see my screen. Good. Thank you, Wendy. You see there, Kathy. Thanks. So here we have the staff team that I'll introduce. And we have Cheryl Ann Stadelbauer Sampa, who is our executive minister, and she's responsible for, well, everything. But more specifically, she's responsible for overseeing, supporting, and guiding the regions in governance and in administration. We have McCall Cottrell, who is the Minister for Pastoral Relations. He took over for Diane Blanchard. He's the staff support for the Human Resources Commission, which includes support for ministers and communities of faith who are in search, support for ministry and personnel committees, and the United Fresh Start program. Kathy Douglas just introduced herself, so I'll skip that one. And then we have Sue Doulaban, who is the executive assistant, and her responsibilities include being the admin support to the executive minister, the lead admin support to the executive and the regional council, and offering admin support to the Covenant Commission. She also takes care of the marriage licenses and registration and policy. We have Krista Ford, who is the administrative assistant of finance. So she supports all of our financial matters. We have Pratima Kukadia Kinting, who is the administrative assistant for communications and records. She's responsible to prepare and distribute the e-newsletter, maintains databases and records, provides administrative support for the HR Commission. Then we have Ruth Anna Mack, who is the administrative assistant for mission and office site. And office site management. So she does admin support for the discipleship and justice staff and decision-making bodies in the regional councils. And she also manages our office site and the regional council records. Then there is me, John Neff. I'm the Minister for Congregational Support, and I support the Covenant Commission, primarily in WOW. I also offer support and resources for the life and work of communities of faith. That's my official role. I also do some support with technology for all three regions. We have Michelle Pettick. She's the administrative assistant of website management. So she manages our website and she does admin support to the commissions as required. We have Therese Samuel, a minister for right relations and social justice. She is staff support to the Mission and Discipleship Commission, which looks after social justice ministries, supports Indigenous and non-Indigenous churches in the work of building right relations. We have Kevin Steeper, who is a minister for pastoral support. He fosters and encourages clergy support networks for mutual care and support. And he's available to offer pastoral care to individual clergy and their families in times of crisis. We also have Martha Padonicott, who is the Community Capacity Development Coordinator. She is part of the Indigenous Ministries and Justice Unit. She works at the United Church of Canada office, and she's deployed in our region. We have Tanya Cameron, who is the Office of Vocation Minister, who is deployed in the region also. Tanya consults on candidacy pathways, mandatory trainings, and oversight and discipline. And lastly, we have Brenna Baker, who is the Community of Faith Stewardship Officer. She's from the GCO philanthropy team, and she's also deployed in our region. And then there's one more slide about us on everyone getting a slice. I think this was Pie Day. So there's a picture of a few of us just relaxing. Are there any questions? I'm probably going to ask this along the way. Are there any questions about any of the staff team? No, that's great. Well, so on the website, you'll know, of course, the regional council website, that we have a list of all the staff and what they do. So if you have any questions, you could look up who we are and what our portfolios are, and hopefully direct your message to the right place. If not, we will redirect you happily to where it should go if you contact any one of us. All right, I would like to show you the congregational support toolkits. This is a primary area of the work that is done in and for communities of faith. So I will share my screen again. You will see here our regional council website. Actually, I'm going to give me 1 second. I'm going to change the screen location because I use 3 different screens, and this one is the furthest one from me, and it's making me turn away all the time. So here we go. You should be able to see the website. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good, thank you. So this is the regional council website. You'll see at the top here, it's wowrcucc.ca. So it's WOW Regional Council, so RC at United Church of Canada, 3 different components. wowrcucc.ca. You should have that as a bookmark on your website. That would be great. So this gives you some basic information. Here is what I said about the staff directory. Here is also an interactive map that you will be able to locate all the churches in Western Ontario Waterways, and also what churches they're connected to, if there's more than one, whether it's a collaborative agreement or a multi-point pastoral charge. And we keep it up to date, but it's amazing how quickly it can become outdated. So if you're looking up a church and you see something that's not there, or should be there, or is there and shouldn't be there, shoot me an email or to Michelle Pettick, who is the website manager, and we'll be able to change that for you. So communities of faith, if you look here, there's a bunch of tabs at the top. Communities of faith is one of the options, and if you go to the very if you hover over it, it opens up a number of other options. So about pastoral relations toolkits, then about the Congregational Support Commission, and then Congregational Support Toolkits. And the toolkits are where we put all the information for you. So you will see, I think there's 10 or 11 toolkits. We have one video, which is a little outdated again, but we're working on that. Toolkit number 1 has to do with the covenant between the region and communities of faith. And we just had a discussion that we're bringing to the commissions from all 3 regions. Maybe I should explain that. I'm sure all of you know that we're tri-regional. So the staff takes care of not only Western Ontario Waterways, but Horseshoe Falls and Antler River Watershed Regional Council. So there are 3 regions that we all work for or support in different ways, and that the staff does all of that. And I work more specifically with Western Ontario Waterways Regional Council. So the 3 covenant commissions of the 3 different regional councils are talking about this. And I think what we're looking at doing is just recognizing every church that currently is a member of our regional council as already covenanted with us. And then any new pastoral charges. So whether it's a new church plant or whether it's an amalgamation, then we will do a specific covenanting service with all the new things that happen. So that's coming up. Toolkit number 2 has to do with the community of faith profile. My colleague Lynn Allen and I just went through all of the different documents here, and we tried to simplify it. And we took out a number of things and changed some things. So anytime that you are filling out your community of faith profile, which by the way should be updated every year, please look at the most recent documents and find them on the website, and then we can copy the information into that from your previous ones. So there is whether you're going into a search or not, for a search, you have to prepare these. But if you're not going into a search, then please prepare them anyway, so that we have the information and we can see what supports are needed for churches within our region. So every church should have a community of faith profile completed. Toolkit number 3 is about Church Hub. So there's some information on how to load your files and whatnot. There's also a link to the United Church of Canada Church Hub site, which has a whole lot more information there for you, since they're the ones who oversee Church Hub. Toolkit number 4 is about property matters. So you see the property policy, as well as some information about property transactions. And then also if you're doing whether it's a lease or a purchase or a sale or things like that with any of your properties, then you're required to fill out the property resolution from the trustees and submit that. So don't forget, that's also for leases. And where we put together a document that talks about leases also for basic leases like regular ones, or a lease, also a rental in space. If it's for like AA or something like that, then that's something that happens on a regular basis and doesn't necessarily require regional council approval. But there are situations certainly where leases are around dedicated space in the church or things like that. And please look up these documents to see if you're required to get regional council approval for that. If in doubt, send me a note and I'll let you know. Toolkit number 5 is about amalgamating and disbanding. We've spent a fair bit of time making sure that the information is all here. So both in disbanding, steps for closing well, and also amalgamating, steps for beginning well. Toolkit number 6 is about pastoral charge supervisors. So there's a handbook there, and there's a way that supervisors can report to the regional council. And I'll let you know that the covenant commissions in all 3 regions are currently talking about setting up a policy where pastoral charge supervisors would be remunerated for their time. So right now, mileage is paid by the regional council, but we're talking about a proposal that would allow pastoral charge supervisors to be paid for the amount of hours that they spend supervising churches that do not have ministry personnel. So that's coming up as well, and will be implemented sometime next year. Toolkit number 7 is about self-assessments. Congregations, according to the manual, are supposed to do a self-assessment every year. So it'd be great to have that done before your annual meeting, and then to talk about any of it at your annual meeting. If you don't, or if you're not able to check off every single box about having completed that, that's okay. The areas that you haven't worked on, they're just goals you can set for this next year to work on and try and accomplish. These are mostly all things that you should be aware of and should have as part of your regular work as the church. Toolkit number 8 is about maintaining the historic role, and there's some documents there. Toolkit number 9 is about collaborative covenants or shared ministry agreements. There's a handbook and there's a sample of collaborative covenant. So collaborations are really anything that more than one church can dream up in how they might like to work together. And we can have facilitated conversations by myself, or we can find somebody else if you would wish to facilitate conversations around what an agreement might look like for you, if that's an area of interest. Toolkit number 10 is about compliance. It's accessibility policy and personal information and privacy policy. This is compliance to government standards. And toolkit number 11, the last one, gives information about annual meetings. So there's a whole lot of stuff up there for you. And this is just about congregational support. Don't forget, there's also the pastoral relations toolkits that you can find as well. Are there any questions about the toolkits? Well, none. So far, so good then.
John, we would have to read through them or something before we'd know. Greta Horton.
Yes, hi, Greta.
Find a question.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. There are some churches who might be in a process already that is relating to one of them, so they might have had a question, but that's fine. Feel free to take your time and look at them. And again, your role is a liaison. No, let's not use that word because we use pastoral relations liaisons. You are the representative between your church and the regional council. So the information you can bring back to your regional, to your home church to keep them informed about things that are happening in the regional council, or resources that are provided, would be very helpful. Same as the newsletters and things like that. When you get them, you know, just make sure that the various areas of your church ministry get things that relate to their work. So yeah, take a look at them and feel free to contact me with any questions. A question that I've had quite a lot recently is one about whether or not regional reps are supposed to be part of the governing body. Now, your governing body can be called a board, a council. I've heard core, I've heard leadership team. It doesn't matter what you call it. Your governing body is the one that makes all the big decisions and sets your purpose and vision and whatnot. So the answer is no, you're not required to be part of the governing body as a regional rep. That doesn't mean that it's not good to be part of it, or that if you're not officially part of it as a voting representative, then you can at least keep the governing body informed, either through a personal report or through a written report to the governing body. So again, you're the information conduit or highway between the regional council and your community of faith. So it's important to keep them informed in whatever way or whatever governance structure that your particular church has. Yes, Shirley, you have a question.
Yes. can the individual church, as part of its ruling constitution, require that you be a member of council?
Yes.
Whatever they
So
say.
you're not by the policy of the United Church, you're not required to be a part of the governing body, but every church's constitution or governance structure, in however they do it, could name you as a member of the governing body.
That's what I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Shirley. Any other questions about that? So interestingly, and more of this information is going to come out as I continue to do some outcomes work from my sabbatical. If you don't know, I did a sabbatical on governance structures and also lay leadership capacity development. So building up capacity of whether it be governing body people or representatives like yourself or anyone within the church who would like to learn more about quite a number of different topics. And according to the manual, the only people required to be on the governing body would be ministry personnel, because you can't have a meeting without them, or somebody appointed like a pastoral charge supervisor if you don't have a minister, and the regional council appoints them. And a chair who is elected by the congregation, and a treasurer and a secretary. The secretary can be someone who's appointed from within the governing body. It doesn't have to be elected by the congregation. Those are the only 4 requirements. And as it turns out, the chair can also be the minister. And if you elect the secretary as one of the other people, you're as low as 2 to 3 people. Now that's not the perfect design. That's just the base place to start. And then you would build from there as to what suits your particular church. So again, more information will come out about that. And if you have any questions about governance in the meantime, or your governance structure, or how to simplify it, or if you wish, make it more complicated, because some of them are pretty complicated, then feel free to contact me and I'd be happy to have a discussion with you or your governing body. Any other questions about governance, governing bodies? Okay. Church Hub. So they have, by the request of regional councils, they've added a regional rep as one of the people that can be listed in Church Hub. So your admin person, whoever takes care of your Church Hub account, and every church should have one, when you list your officers, so who your governing body personnel are, who might be your organist or things like that. There's a whole lot of categories, but regional representative is one of them. And I encourage you to make sure that your Church Hub account is updated with who your current regional rep is. So that's you, because that helps us contact you. Right now, I think when I looked at the amount of regional reps that were actually listed in Church Hub, because that creates a database for us, there was about 6. Well, the only way of contacting you then is for me to send it out in the newsletter, which I did, or put it on Facebook, which I did. But that's not guaranteed. I'd rather send you a personal email. So please make sure that your Church Hub account is updated with your name and contact information. Okay, I kind of touched on this already when I was talking about the toolkits, but I'm encouraging you to be in contact with your governing body to please complete the Community of Faith profile. Again, once it's created, then it's only a matter of updating it every year, which would be very helpful. And I say that because I run into it again and again and again, where a ministry personnel gives notice that they're leaving, and the church then hits panic mode because they haven't prepared anything at all. And so they've got to do everything in order to prepare for a search. And if you have your community of faith profile already complete and or updated within a year, then we'll take that information as it is and move from there. So there's a lot less work and a lot less panic that you need to go through if you just keep it updated. And I would say so of the self-assessment as well. It is a requirement of the manual to do that yearly. So look it over and just work toward completing all the components of it to make sure that your church is running in good order, both by the manual, by good practice habits, and also by government standards for things that need to be done. The day is coming where if there are any requests from a community of faith around search or grants or other types of information that are required that the regional council would be involved in, that if you don't have your profile done, the first thing that will be asked for is your profile, because that gives us a sense of who you are, or it gives the Covenant Commission, who makes the decisions with you, a sense of who you are. So again, good reason to have your profiles done, because otherwise you may end up hitting a roadblock when you're looking for something else from the regional council. That's, in a flurry, I feel, all of the information I wanted to present to you. So can you have multiple roles on Church Hub? Good question, Greg, and the answer is yes. It's just a matter of putting in what the role is and your name and your email. So whatever roles people are filling, that would be filled in. There's no restrictions. Yeah, see, I even noticed the chat.
Hi, John. This is Greg.
Hi, Greg.
So when you go in, it doesn't give you the opportunity to put in multiple roles. It just lets you put in one role. So do you actually put in your name multiple times?
Okay, so I don't actually see what a congregation sees when they log in. When I log in, I, of course, log in as a minister, or as staff, I have access to view the results of Church Hub, not the actual process you go through. But my understanding is that in your admin person, when they log in into the main part of your Church Hub account, that there are a number of different roles that can be selected. So you would select the role and then enter the information, select the next role and enter the information, and so on.
Yeah, no, it seems that it only lets you enter that one role. So I'm on a search team, but I'm also a rep on the region. So it's either I have an opportunity to put in one role. I have search team right now because I want to see the aspects of search team.
Right.
But I don't seem to be able to, I don't see where I could put in both. Maybe if I added myself again or used a different email address, which is kind of counterproductive, that I'd be able to do that. But
yeah,
maybe I just need to play around with it a little bit.
I understand what you're saying. I think so. When you log in as a search team member, it's a different way of logging in and different information presented to you. So
That's
it
right.
has to be from your church's admin account, which is not the search team one.
Right. No, I get that. So I'm on my church's admin account right now.
Okay.
But when I go in to look at me,
yeah, I
am only on the search team. And if I put in something other than search team, I'm no longer search team.
Okay.
And maybe there's maybe I can add myself twice, but I don't know.
Yeah. What church are you from, Greg?
First United Church in Waterloo.
Okay, just
We
give
can
me
do
one
this, we
second.
can
I'll
do
show
this
you.
offline. I don't want to sort of hijack what you're doing here.
Well, actually, I don't mind showing people what it looks like on my end. First pastoral charge Waterloo. So I'm going to share my screen again. What I'm showing you is nothing private. So where am I here? You can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here, like when I call up our database, here's first pastoral charge Waterloo. That's the church. So all of the records are by pastoral charge, not individual church. Individual churches are linked to a pastoral charge. So when I go into COF roles, I see something like this. I see church treasurer, outreach lead, board secretary, all these. I've got, here's you on the search team. There's 3 people on the search team here, 4, 5, but I see your music director and so on. So it gives us the basic information, which community of faith, your email and telephone if you provide it. So there is a way when you log into Church Hub as the admin person to load in this information.
Oh, no, I've got that information.
Okay.
But when I go and say Greg, and Greg says Greg's on the search team, I have to get rid of the search team and put in regional rep.
I see. Okay, so you're saying
it doesn't give me an opportunity for a second role. It just gives me the opportunity for one role, and it is just a choice.
okay.
The only way I could do it, it looks like, is if I added myself in through the administrator account with a different email to create.
Okay. That's an interesting problem that I've not heard of before. So I will look into that, and I will send out some information through, I guess, through email.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing is, so like I have another role on the credentialing committee.
Yep.
But that isn't church related.
Right.
That was set up a different way.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's simply another email address or just if I added my name in again, it would just make 2 of me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You can try that, but otherwise, I'm going to have to contact somebody at General Counsel who takes care of this. That might be Deb Kygar, but they'll be able to let me know, and I can put the information out.
John.
Okay.
John, it's Peter.
Peter, yes.
Yeah, I understand what's happening there also.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Peter.
I have the same problem. Can't add several, you can only stay with one.
Okay. I'm going to make a note about that. So we're talking COF roles. Can only enter one role per email. I will look into it and get back to people. As we all know, people often serve in multiple roles in churches, so it makes sense that we would be able to enter the same name and same email in a number of different roles. Thank you for that question, Greg. Are there any other questions?
Just to follow up, I have added myself a second time, and now it's sitting, and so we'll see what happens after it's processed.
Okay.
Which won't be tonight, if past experience holds true.
Right. Usually, I think they do an update of everything every night, so it'll be at least till tomorrow. I'm going to look it up also.
For some reason, I think it's between 11 and 12 when I've seen things get updated.
Okay. And this was Waterloo, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Shirley, I see your hand up.
Yes, our search committee's been having quite a bit of problem at Knox with the hub. Are they working on updating it? I think it's the technical part of it.
So Church Hub, you mean?
Yes.
And you're
Particularly to
asking
do
if
with
they
polls.
are doing a PIN,
Yes.
like
To do-
a 4-digit code?
And well, they've had some problems with when the names come up. There's a great repetition of names
Okay.
and the same people coming up first all the time. Number of search issues that the search committee has had some stress with over the hub.
Okay, if you don't mind sending me an email, Shirley, about that, and then I can look into it. That's a fairly specific question.
Not to cut in here, but I will. I noticed the same thing
Okay.
when we were doing the search that it puts it in order of adding people, but it doesn't really. It's the same people at the top all the time, and it just mixes in through. But Shirley, I did notice that on Saturday that seemed to get fixed this past Saturday, so you may want to check again and see if it's still happening.
Okay, I know that there was some talk that it might be fixed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you.
Any other questions? Peter.
Quick question is, I submitted a expression of interest for a group. How does that work now that once I've entered it, expressed an interest in, for example, for the congregational support and mission? So I never did confirmation afterwards, but I did contact and I was told that it was received. So I'm just wondering what kind of answers I'll get back on that.
Okay. I will look into that. I usually when we get an expression of interest, it gets sent to all the staff and to the commission chairs. And or whichever commission or area of interest you specified, if you did. So I'll look into that for you.
It's yours, actually.
Okay, so I don't. Does Janet Cleve have a hand up? It looks very strange to me. Oh no, that's my mouse. That's weird. It was showing a hand. Weird. Never saw that before. Okay. I wonder if it might be helpful. We have about just less than 15 minutes left. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I wonder if folks, if you want to just talk about how things are going, if you want to give a report about how things are going in your church or how your role is going as a representative of the regional council to your community of faith.
I can start.
Sure.
I'm as you can see, I'm Peter Cooper, and I'm of Trinity Elmira. I'm their chair, lay rep for leadership team in the church. Also, I'm also the chair of their redevelopment committee, and I've got some great news that we've presented before Woolwich, and just recently, and it's moving forward. And we're into the site plan area, and we should be getting some information and permissions later on this year. And the progress, we're going to be building a 40-unit apartment with a church floor on the floor, and it'll be 4 stories plus a patio roof facility on top, which makes it 5 stories. And the old council after the election, they've been very favorable, and from what we understand, the new council also is very favorable. So we're going to be supporting the community. We're having a community type development, and some of the ideas that we have on this is that we're going to approach the community organizations and also the various churches in town. Even though the rents will be at market rents, we're suggesting that various groups and churches rent a unit and subsidize it to someone within their congregation or that is in need of some support. And therefore, we're all doing community service. And we do have a problem in Elmira where elderly seniors who are downsizing can have no place to stay in Elmira, so they have to move out of Elmira. Although they want to stay, they will be able to provide a solution. Anyway, we hope to have this all done by the end of 2024. So that's the good news. And right now we're worshiping with the Mennonites, Floridale Mennonite Church. They've offered us their basement, and it's a beautiful area. And we've been there for a year now, and we'll be there till it opens. And we've had a good relationship. So that's pretty well the update.
Yeah, that's a great, Peter. Thank you very much for that. Anyone else want to share your experience as a regional rep or how things are going in your church? See, everyone's eager. Mary.
I'm enjoying my time as regional rep and have certainly met a lot of interesting people. I also serve on the Mission and Discipleship Commission and find that quite fulfilling. In terms of our actual church, I think it's general. We seem to have difficulty getting people out of their chairs on Sunday morning and back into the building. And that is happening with our seniors group within the town of Shelburne as well. They want to see stuff up and going, but boy, do they have difficulty coming out to support it and get involved themselves.
That's great. Thanks for that update, Mary. And anyone else?
Hi, John, Cassandra at Tottenham United Church in Richel Pastoral Church.
Hi, Cassandra.
I am honestly between COVID and finishing school and starting a full-time job and just kind of slipping back into the role. I've always been the rep, but just kind of slipping back into it and starting to participate again in the time that I was a little disconnected. Rich Hill United Church will be closing
Yes.
in the next 2 years, I believe. And at church, again, you know, it's the Sunday school. The kids aren't coming as much because we had an online option over COVID and the parents seem to like that more. So we're trying to get people back into the pews.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thanks, Cassandra.
welcome.
That's certainly a challenge that lots of churches have faced is post-COVID, getting people back to attend in person. I know there's still hesitation from many about gathering together in public, and rightly so in many cases, depending on whether masks are still worn and things like that, because COVID is far from over, even though our restrictions are lessened. But yeah, it's a common theme that I hear. And just as Cassandra was speaking, it dawned on me, I never said anything about the fact that regional reps, you folks, are encouraged to get involved in some way in the regional council. There are a number of different commissions, but there's also what we call resource pools, that's it, which is basically people that we can call on for short-term task-oriented type work. So if you're interested in a particular area, whether it's justice issues or mission and discipleship, or whether it's pastoral relations or congregational support or these types of things, there's always something to do, and we could always use more volunteers. So I encourage you to think about getting involved in some way. And as it was mentioned, by Peter, the expression of interest form is on the website, so you can fill it in, and we'll get back to you about what that might look like for you. Anyone else? We have 7 minutes. No one, huh?
I will.
All right,
update
Barbara,
you.
thank you.
Trinity Collingwood has called a minister after more than a year of, okay, we had someone who stepped in and did most of our services, but we have called Leslie Fox. So she will be coming the second Sunday in January, and we're really looking forward to that. We also have trouble getting people into the pews, but I think it's all over. They are slowly coming back, and so we'll probably get more now that we have a permanent minister, but it's good news.
So it is. Thank you, Barbara, for sharing that. I don't know who's ringing.
Sorry, that was me. I'm from Three Willows United Church in Guelph. I was asked to do this role in the spring, and I have no clue what it involves, so I was glad to attend tonight. So our church is going through transitions. We're losing a 1-year appointed minister part-time, and we had one minister retire and pass away. And again, we're in a similar situation. We're declining enrollment, and I know, John, you're helping us discern some pathways. So that's where we are.
Great. Thank you, Linda, for sharing. Just so you know, Linda, I have a meeting with GUM, that's the Guelph United Ministries people, on Thursday. Five minutes left. Come on. Somebody fill in the time. Tracy, I see your hand up. There you are.
Yeah. I'm Tracy Billing. I'm from Arkle United Church. We just recently have appointed a student minister for our church, and his covenanting service is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's been quite interesting. It's the first time that we've ever gone this route to have a student minister. We have a committee set up that's been meeting with him every Sunday after church. He seems to be doing very well. He's from Nigeria, so he does have a bit of a language barrier, but we are working our way around that. But we're glad to have that because we've just gone through all the search committee and all that kind of stuff. So it was quite a learning experience for all of us doing all of that. So yeah, we're quite excited that we will be appointing him, and we'll have his service in a couple of weeks. So
Excellent. Thank you, Tracy. Pat, I see your hand.
Thank you. I have a question. On November 18th and 19th is the WOW conference.
Yes.
And it's scheduled on Zoom. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are we not going to be present ever for another WOW conference in person, or is it going to be traditionally a Zoom type meeting?
That's a very good question. Thank you for that. So we're talking about the regional council meeting in the fall, and it is an online only option. I can't speak to what might happen in the future. That's up to the executive to decide. What I do know is that both the United Church of Canada and a commitment of our 3 regional councils are to try to reduce our carbon footprint by as much as possible. And part of that is to not have as much travel and whatnot. So in-person meetings take a lot of resources, financial, time, space, and travel, and all of that. So again, I can't speak to it never happening. That's up to the executive to decide. Sorry, I can't answer that any better.
That makes good sense. Thank you. Good
Thanks, Pat.
update.
Yep. Greta,
Turn on your mic, Rita.
you're muted, Greta.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I was on the transition team for Wasaga Beach Church. First of all, for 1 year to choose someone to be the minister, and then 1 year on the transition team, or 1.5 years, and that completed at the end of June. Reverend Jeff Werner was the minister for 18 months. It
Right.
was supposed to be for 2 years, but Jeff was going in another direction, so it wound up, but the work was done
Excellent.
as much as possible.
Thanks, Greta. Just a reminder, if you're here and you have not put in your name and church to which you belong in the chat, please do so I can have a record. And Cassandra, you're up next.
Hi, John. Just from the previous person who spoke before, for the meeting, what day is most of the business happening on? Just because I do have to work, so I just want to know which day I need to switch. with my
That's a
colleague.
good question. I think there's business on both of them. I don't know if I should tell you, because then, people be like, I don't have to go that day.
You could always email me later.
Yeah, that's always an option. Let me just take a look here. Is there someone else who has a question while I look up the information for Cassandra? Tracy, is that your hand up, or are you adjusting something there? Adjusting something, okay. I'm just looking up the working agenda, Cassandra. Any other comments then from anyone? As we're at 8:01, so I guess that means we're wrapped up. So I would like to thank everybody for taking an hour out of your time to sit together and to see each other's faces, most of us anyway, so that we begin to know who the regional reps are. And again, I've committed to having a meeting twice a year just to gather. But if a bunch of you want a meeting at more times than that, I'm happy to do so. We like to try and keep you updated about how things are going, and if you have any questions about your role. So Cassandra, why don't you hang on a second and I'll look up the information. And for the rest of you, go with God's blessings. Be hopeful in the work you do, both with the regional council and with your community of faith, and keep everyone informed. Thank you for attending.
Thanks, John.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you very much, John.
You're very welcome.
John,
Yes.
I
Hi, Carol.
when things done